Murdered and missing Indigenous women. It's an issue that's been going on for not 3 decades, but a long time, 100 years maybe. I remember as a child, I grew up in a small northern mining community. There were 6 operating mines and very few Native people. Then the Canadian government has been saying for the last few years that there's 1,200 missing and murdered Indigenous women. But the First Nations Women's Association, National Women's Association, have always known it's been more around 4,000 women that have been missing within the last 3 decades. And with the national report that just came out on June the 3rd, what was in that report is over 4,000 women. Growing up in my community, there was a lot of racism, a lot of non-Native people, there was a lot of minors, there was a lot of no value placed on the Native people at all. One of the main reasons I got involved with murdered and missing Indigenous women is to help share some of their stories, because a lot of times nobody knew what happened to them. They had no voice. And my mom was one of those women. I remember at the age of 8 or 9 that something bad had happened to her, but she never told me the story until I was an adult, so I didn't know. Her and my dad went out for the evening, and they got separated from each other, and she decided to walk home by herself. It was common in our hometown for the men to drive around and try to pick up Native women. She got drove into a car, and she was taken to an isolated road, and she was beaten and raped and left to die and thrown in a bush. Nothing ever happened to those men. And my mom never reported it, because anytime anything like that has been reported, nothing was ever done. And so my main reason for being involved with the murdered and missing Indigenous women is to tell my mom's story. I want people to know. That what she went through wasn't, somebody cares. At that time, it seemed like nobody cared. She's alive today. She survived her ordeal. She's 95 years old. So I want to be her voice, and I want to share her story whenever I can. Also last summer, I had a niece that went missing in July. We did a lot of searches. Our family searched the highways, we searched the river. We did 3 highway searches and 2 river searches. We didn't get much help from the local professionals, the RCMP, the Hope Search and Rescue. We basically did it ourselves. Our family walked up and down the highway, and we got our own boats and we drove up and down the highway searching for her. It wasn't until the very end when some of our leadership, our higher up First Nations leadership, got on board and decided to talk to the superintendent of the RCMP that we actually did get some help. She was found in November in the river, 200 miles from where she disappeared. So she'd been in the river for 4 months. The RCMP say there was no foul play. I'm not sure how they determined that, because we don't know how she got in the river. It's quite common for a lot of our women to end up in the river. There was a young girl from Winnipeg, Manitoba, 15 years old, little Tina Fontaine, that ended up in a bag in the river. And the person that was accused of her murder got away. He didn't get charged for anything. He went to court, but nothing happened. And this is common. It happens quite often. It happened when I was 8, 9 years old. My niece went missing last year. It's still happening. So that's one of the reasons you'll see lots of organized events for awareness for murdered and missing Indigenous women, because we're trying to stop it, we're trying to change it.